Hi, hello, I'm Luca. I'm the curator here at Haynes Motor Museum. Today we're here at Haynes Heritage Engineering. We're going to have a look at the museum's 1961 Aston Martin DB4. It's been over here for a few months undergoing a restoration. I don't know if you've seen the last video on YouTube, but last time we saw it, it was in its bare metal. So we're just going to go over to the paint shop and have a chat with Nick, the restoration workshop manager, to see how far it's come in the last few months. So Nick, what's been happening with the car for the last few months?
In very condensed version is the car's gone into our mechanical workshop to check that the mechanical guys are happy and that it's all been signed off and they're really happy to get going with it. It then comes in here, has a little bit of protection put on the car, which in essence is like an anti-corrosive layer that just goes onto the bare metal to stop it getting a little bit of surface rust or anything occurring even in its natural temperatures and in the workshops. Once that's been done, the car then goes back to the mechanical workshop and we're actually able to carry out final fitment of engine, gearbox, both axles and all of the running gear, or the vast majority of the running gear, which meant the car could go down on its wheels for the first time in, I think, about a decade, which was a really good monumental occasion. All of a sudden that makes it easy to move the car around. So then it wheels back into here and it starts its paint process, which in essence, there's 8 stages. This is now at stage 7, the last one being the top coat, which we've started in certain areas.
You can see it on some of it, can't you?
That's it, exactly. In essence, that's filler work, primer work, and then the top coat, and that's broken down then into a few sort of subsections. Approximately 250, I think, hours handwork that goes into that section. So although month to month it doesn't always look like there's tons going on, because each layer always ends up being another shade of grey, the actual amount of labour in that is colossal.
It is a huge amount of work, isn't it? And to get it to this point is really impressive in this time frame.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you have 2 months of it having all of that, and then you can have a week where you can pop your head in the door and all of a sudden the whole thing's red and it looks like we've done tons.
So are we thinking that's going to be within the next few weeks or so? So we might be
Yeah,
able to see
absolutely,
that
yeah.
change?
At the moment, Dave's just started on that side of the vehicle doing the final scotch off, and this is its final primer. So he's just preparing it before it goes into the booth. The doors, the bonnet and the boot are already at that stage. They're just at the back there. They've already had that final scotch off. So they're quite literally been next in the booth and painted. So yeah, a really exciting stage.
Really exciting, definitely. We'll see lots and lots of change in the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me a bit more about how we got to that colour and how we chose that specific colour?
So I think on the last video, we were really focusing on the fact that we had a spray out found in the car, which was from the sort of early 90s when it had obviously had a little bit of crash repair or rust repair or something like that. And we were relying on that to say, right, that's the colour that we're going to go for and try and mix up. Once we got to the stage that we were ordering the paint, it was much more difficult than we thought to try and get that perfectly matched. I think in the end we sort of presented you with sort of 15 or 16 different spray outs.
Yeah, and they weren't quite a match, were they?
No, absolutely not. All slightly wrong. So we rethought it and have gone back through the archives basically and gone to what Aston Martin actually would have produced at that time for that car rather than this specific car. So this colour that we've settled on is the actual shade that it would have come out of the factory rather than what it would have been after it was repainted very early on in its life. And I think it's come out really nice. I'm really positive about it.
Definitely, I think it looks great. I think sometimes it's really important to look back at historical colours and points in a car's life where it might be a slightly different colour, but it might be more significant for the car. But in this case, I think going back to the original and going back to that authentic colour is really important. And as you say, it does look great, definitely. So what's next for the car now?
So the last couple of days we've had a trimmer come in because we've needed a little bit of help on the interior. The majority of it's still there and we've got in its original form, just needs a very good clean up. A few bits are missing or too badly damaged to use. So the chaps come in and looked at a headliner for us. The main reason we've had him in so early is because the headliner needs to be fitted to this car before the glass goes in. So we've got a very small window for that to go in. So we've arranged basically once Dave's managed to paint the car, the trimmer will come in, make a headliner from scratch, fit it as we request it basically, and then we can get on and build the rest of the car up. We're hoping to have the car painted in within the next 2 weeks. A little bit of trim in, and then it'll be next door to the mechanical chaps to start getting all of the shiny bits on basically.
Perfect. like to make it sound easy.
So the last time you were with us, I think the car was just about to go into the paint booth and have the final coat applied. Quite obviously it's now been painted, all went really, really well and we're really pleased with the finished product. And it's moved back into the mechanical workshop for the last stage, which is fitting up and putting all the mechanical components back in.
Amazing. So can you tell me a bit more about what exactly is happening now?
Yeah, absolutely. So the car comes in as a painted shell. It's the easiest section to explain to anyone coming in because you quite literally bolt everything on. There's nothing too fancy.
It's very visual, you can see all of it as well, can't you?
It's not like the metal work and the paint work where there's hundreds and hundreds of hours and not much visually changes. Whereas this is quite literally, right, let's get everything built up. Fitting a headlight is not a 10-minute exercise. Everything is well thought out. Are we using the right gaskets? Are we using the right fittings? To make sure we get everything absolutely spot on, both period correct and to make sure it's going to last. And also just when you're dealing with a car that's freshly painted, especially with the money that's involved in freshly painting a car, the care is tenfold. So yeah, bright work goes on, bumpers, etc, etc. We do things in a certain order. Matt finished off all of the wiring and connected the components onto the wiring in the engine bay to start off with. Then he's put a little bit of bright work on the front, the dashboard and all of the instruments are in. He'll then do the same process on the rear end before the trimmer comes in and does a little bit of trim work. Then glass in. And then what you can't see is underneath, one of our other technicians, Kevin, has made and run all the brake lines, a few fuel lines, which again is all just from scratch off a reel of line usually. A lot of lock wiring and things that aren't quite as exciting. We find them quite exciting, but that's because we're quite a weird bunch. But a lot of that you can't see and takes a lot longer than putting the nice big shiny bits on. You get a bit more satisfaction out of.
Yeah, definitely.
It won't be too long before we get the trimmer in to do a little bit of interior, because we can then get windscreens and the rear screen in. And we're counting down really to turning the key and testing out.
Yeah, no, it all looks wonderful. And it's going to be very excited to see the next few stages and the final stages to getting it done. Make sure to stay tuned to see how we get on with the next few stages.